and focus. So today we are going to be talking about, oh, gotta fix my contact. Today we're going to be talking about the lovely topic of abortion. So buckle on up. Gotta fix my teeth. I felt like there was something in there. Okay, so where do I even begin? Okay, I am going to start at the very beginning. This could be a rough one to talk about just because I know it's just a hard topic to talk about, abortion. And there's so much that goes on in my brain when it comes to this topic. So collecting everything will be very interesting, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible because I have places to go and people to see. I first was introduced to what an abortion is when I was in high school in health class. It was the first time that I really had to confront myself with this view, and as a Christian, and being so young. And so I obviously didn't really know much about it other than it's the ending of a life. And I think I kind of was like, yeah, that's wrong, but rape, if I was raped, how would I feel about that? So these are like the things that you think about. And then I just kind of put it to bed. It would come up every now and then, but it wasn't something I actively thought about or knew a lot of information on. And then I went to Ireland to study abroad, and this is when everything changed. So when I was in Ireland, I went in 2018 during their referendum of their right to life. So that was in their constitution, and because the right to life was in their constitution, abortion was illegal in Ireland, at least in the Republic of Ireland. And so that was on the table, and it was the first time that I was really confronted with abortion, because in America it was from the 1970s. It's already decided and it's kind of done for. Abortion is legal here. But to be in a country where they are on the ground deciding what to do, it felt very real to me. And it made me realize that there's a fight because they had the upper hand. It was already illegal. But here, if you're pro-life, if you're for life, then you're playing defense because it's already legal in America. And so that was really life-changing. I got decently involved, not heavily involved because it's not my country, but I went to the school voting because the school was going to vote whether they were going to remain neutral or remain in favor of abortion. And I spoke out against that. And then I also did an article for my journalism class. I interviewed the abortion side and the anti-abortion side, or as the euphemisms that most people know, pro-choice and pro-life. I used pro-choice to a person I met recently, and I used it kind of like pro-choice, saying as that's what they call themselves, and he's like, don't say that. Words have meaning. Don't say pro-choice. What is the choice? And I was like, whoa, dude. It was just convicting because I'm like, it's just interesting to meet someone and someone be like, yeah, words do have meaning. I love words. You're right. I shouldn't say pro-choice. Anywho, that's a tangent, but relevant. So I did that, and then I came back home, and I went about life. I had some conversations with some friends and, made them think and challenge them on this topic. And then I was confronted with abortion in early 2019. I was doing a lot of research on politics and current events, and abortion was one of them. So I educated myself on abortion and what's happening in America around that, in California specifically, because that's where I live. And so with that, this is such a God thing. I was walking by and I was just going home from class. There was a table. It was a feminist table. And I was just like, I got a feeling from God, the Holy Spirit, you need to go talk to them and find out why they're here. So I went up and I just kind of played it cool, asked them questions like, oh, what are you tabling for? And stuff like that. And they told me that they were tabling for SB 24, which is Senate Bill 24, to make abortions on campus available at the health center. the abortion pill. And so I was like, I need to go to the Senate meeting. I didn't tell them that, but I went to the Senate meeting and I tried to let other Christians that I knew from Cru at college and stuff like that. And so I went, and some other people went, and I spoke, and then I went to the following meeting because I kind of, they tabled the topic. And then the following meeting I went, and I spoke again, and what was really interesting to me is, one, there were more people on the abortion side speaking than on our side. And so that I wasn't really surprised about. But what surprised me was that they were discussing, the people on the Senate for the school, and the questions we raised about funding, about how it's going to work, about the legalities and ethics and all this stuff. They had a lot of questions too. They were kind of confused or didn't know, and they still voted for it. So that just kind of showed me that people vote with an agenda, and because it's the right thing in society to be for the abortion side and for women to get to do that, then that's what they voted for. So I met people from Students for Life, and that is a pro-life club, and I joined. It was very, very small. And what also surprised me is how reluctant Protestant evangelicals, people from Cru, were to be a part of the pro-life movement in a very active way. Because everyone in that club, granted there weren't that many, but they were all Catholic. And that really surprised me and kind of saddened me at the same time, because I don't think it should be that way. And luckily I have seen some shifting, but I really noticed that the Catholics were the activists in this. They were the ones making the moves, making the change, either through legislation, pregnancy centers, on clubs, and Protestants were just kind of left in the dust. So that was really concerning to me. And I joined, and then it grew. It doubled in size when I left. So that was very encouraging, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to graduate and to see it thriving. And I obviously don't know what's going to happen to it, once I leave, but I wanted to leave it on relatively good foundation before piecing on out. And so that was really fun. I learned a lot about tabling and just talking to students and engaging in them with dialogue and conversation. And it's a hot button topic. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on it, either from their own personal experience or their perceived experience, things they've heard from other people. And so that was definitely a big challenge. But one thing that I felt super convicted by is I can openly talk about abortion to these people and tell them why it's wrong and this and that and all the philosophical reasons and moral reasons and whatever it may be. And I'm like, but I'm not telling them about Jesus, so what does this matter? I kind of went through a crisis or an existential crisis with that. It's I'm not sharing the gospel with them. That's what I should be doing. And so, yeah, I guess I just got a little convicted with that, which is a good conviction. I still think talking about pro-life stuff is very important, and, but the gospel is the foundation for everything. And so what's really sad is people who claim to be Christian and also are for abortion. That just really breaks my heart. And I know Christians who have had abortions, but to be a Christian and be yeah, people should be able to choose that I'm just hands up. I don't know what to tell you. So, because it's pretty clear to me in the Bible, abortion, it's murder, it's the ending of an innocent human life, and God knits us in our mother's womb. We are knit inside, and He knows us from the very beginning. He has a plan and purpose for us, and so those two things, really hard to argue and debate with those. And obviously you don't want to condemn, you want to forgive, you want to, they need freedom in Christ. And I know some people, I've met people working in this ministry now for quite some time who have had abortions, people who are now in the pro-life movement because they had an abortion and they want to stop abortion so other women don't have to go through this and experience the trauma and pain from it, which I just think is the most courageous and strong thing ever. And so then I started volunteering at a pregnancy clinic. And so that was just so incredible. Also, the noise quality probably got better because my neighbor's machine turned off. So super happy about that. So I volunteer at a pregnancy clinic. That pause was me thinking, man, should I refilm it? Not going to refilm it. I don't have time for that. But I love it. I was trained as a client advocate. I went through 6 months of training. I got to observe and I got to read material, and I have learned so much. It just was from 0 to 100, maybe not 0, probably 30 or 40 to 100, because I knew a lot by being in Students for Life and stuff like that, but actually talking to women, hearing their stories, it's just a whole nother level of the pro-life ministry and movement. And it's really incredible. And I just pray that any woman that walks into the clinic just has a profound life change and a heart change, and we have an impact on her in some way, and that she ultimately comes to know the Lord. We're there as a clinic, one, to provide services and hopefully, get them to choose life. But, the baseline and foundation of everything is our faith as well, which I really appreciate. And I've met some really incredible people by being there and volunteering once a week. I love it. And if you don't know, there's a thing called the abortion pill reversal, and that's really incredible, trying to reverse abortions. You have to do it within a time frame, because abortions have 2 pills. First pill starves the baby. Second pill causes contractions going into labor. And so if you do it within 24 hours, but you're running against the clock, you really should do it as soon as possible. After the first pill, you take the reversal, and it gives the baby progesterone and hopefully can counteract it. And so that one's always just super emotional. And, and nowadays we're even wondering if they increase the dosage of the abortion pill, because of the whole reversal thing and wanting to not have that be a thing. So it's a lot of spiritual warfare is in this ministry, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart. You need to go on with the full armor of God, and that is such a good reminder to me, this is not my work, this is the Lord's work, and I'm just a vessel. But I love it. I love the pro-life movement. I'm so passionate about it, and my heart breaks for the young teenage girls that don't know the truth, that don't know what an abortion actually is and actually does to your baby and your body, and the psychological damage that it does to you as a woman. Because you have to go through healing, and if you don't, you're just going to suppress it and stuff it down. And especially if you're a Christian, you need to go through healing, and you need to heal from these things. And there's so many good resources out there for abortion, trauma healing. You kind of go through PTSD sometimes with abortion, and it's really cruel when you get into it. 3rd trimester abortions, there's no reason for it, because you have to go into labor. And so if there was even a medical emergency or something, it just wouldn't even be necessary, because you would have an intervention like that. But to do a 3rd trimester abortion, you have to induce labor and go into full labor, and then you have to take a syringe and hopefully aim for the baby's heart. Sorry if this was supposed to be a fun video. I told you it was a heavy topic going in. Aim for the baby's heart. Hope that you don't miss. Shoot it with poison to stop the heart and kill the baby, and then you deliver the baby dead. And if that doesn't work, then you snap the neck or dismember it one by one, depending on what state you live in. So, yep, that is 3rd trimester abortion. Babies are viable outside the womb around 20 weeks. And you hear the heartbeat at week 6, and most people don't find out they're pregnant until about week 5, week 6, or week 7. And your baby's already a little baby. I love the models. You see the little hands and the head and the little body. It's a baby, it's a life. It's not a clump of cells. Or it is a clump of cells, we're all a clump of cells, but it's a clump of cells that is alive, that is your offspring, and is a part of you, and deserves the right to life. There's a lot of reasons why people argue why there should be abortion, why people should choose. Rape is a very big one. I know people who were conceived in rape, and let me tell you, they're so thankful that they're alive, and they're innocent in it. They had no part in it. But I do understand how women psychologically combine the two events, which is also just really tragic. So, sorry if this was a Debbie Downer. Overall, this is a huge cause that I champion, that I feel very passionately about, and that I will always be involved in from some capacity to the next. Because even if abortion is illegal in the US and people from now until eternity cannot get an abortion legally, people are still going to choose it. And then those people are going to need post-abortive care, and then I'll go into that ministry. But I first want to stop the ending of innocent human lives, because this is our human rights crisis of America's generation. And there's a lot of other human rights crises, but this is a really big one. It's really foundational, and it's very deep-seated. And there's a lot of reasons why people argue on the best way to stop abortion and why there's so many abortions, or this, that, and the other. But yeah, so I'm just here to say proudly, I am pro-life. I think people should be pro-life. And if we all stood up and tried to end this, and then maybe we'd make a difference. And I also know it's really important to end the reason why women choose abortion as well. The positions that they're in, societal wise, I know that is also equally important. But I could ramble on forever about this. I wanted to tell my pro-life story on how I got to where I am. And I am so excited for where God is taking me on this. And I can't wait to just impact the kingdom and impact people's lives with wherever I am. So thank you so much for watching, and thanks for listening to some heavy topics. I promise next time will be a little bit of a more upbeat one, but I think it's upbeat because being at the pregnancy center and seeing babies and seeing people choose life, it's so heartbreaking, but so incredibly beautiful and so encouraging. And knowing people who have had abortions and have healed and now want to fight, that is just so encouraging and so powerful. And I just am so thankful for where God has put me and for what I get to do. So I'll see you guys next time. I gotta go, and I don't want to ramble for any longer, so I'm gonna get up and turn off the camera.